Today we're going to be making Bugeleon with ORBMolecules. Okay, so we've got large orange, medium blue, small green, black, and white. Okay, let's pop them out. Okay, so let's start with the head. So I'm going to move my material around. So I'm going to grab probably about this much of the block for the head, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to put the rest to the side. So I'm just going to squish it into kind of a circle shape. Actually, I might grab a little bit more. And so what we want to do is make indents for eyes once we get kind of the overall shape that we want. So it's kind of circular, a little bit oval, a little flat on the back. So if you want to push it down on your table to get a nice flat surface so it can connect to the rest of the body later. There we go. So we're going to stick our thumbs where we want our eyes to be, and then we're going to pinch the eyebrows. So you just want to pinch out the molecules so you get some nice definition. You can also add on some of the bigger beads if you want to give you that same definition. So I might add in a couple from my block over here. Oops, there's some big green ones in there. So I'll just add a couple on top just to give it a bit more definition. And a couple more in here, just to build it out a little bit. And you can build his eyebrows really tall or really, really nice out of his face like that. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to do a couple of details for the head. So he's got a couple of little strips here for the head of green and blue. So I'm going to put my head to the side. I'm going to grab a bit of green, and I'm just going to roll it out between my hands. It's a pretty big piece, so I'm going to break it in half, roll it out a little bit, make it a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. That looks good. So I'm going to do that 3 more times. Okay. So now I'm going to make some eyebrows to go over top of our orange eyebrows. I'm going to do the same thing as we did for our detail. So just rolling out a little bit in between your hands. I'm going to break that in 2. Got nice even eyebrows. Roll it out nice and thin. I'm just going to place it on top where the eyebrow lives. And we're going to do the same for the other eye. We're going to put a couple of blue pieces on top for accent. So, and you can put as many or as little as you want. I'm going to space them out kind of nice and evenly, I think. Cool. Okay. So let's add on our green. So you can put them wherever you'd like. I'm just going to make them nice and even. Add them on kind of like this. You can cover it over the back too. You can make it go down as far as you want. Cool. It's looking pretty cool so far. Okay, then I'm going to take a couple of blue pieces, and I'm just going to do the same thing that I did with the eyebrow and kind of add them on top. Okay, so let's roll out a little bit of black for the mouth. So I'm just going to take a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing, put it in my hand, roll it together, make a nice big smile. And you can pinch it to kind of make the molecules a bit denser in the middle, so it's nice and solid. Oop. Roll it out a bit more. There we go. And let's put the mouth right about there. Give it a nice big smile. It's a pretty happy guy. All right, so we got some nostrils. We're just going to grab a couple of pieces of black. We're just going to roll it up. So we've got two little black balls, and we'll just stick them where we think his best smelling nose can be. That looks about right. Okay, so we've got antenna next. So we'll just grab a little bit of black. We'll break that amount in two. And again, we're gonna roll it out, make a nice pointy antenna. You can make it flat on the bottom, so squishing it on the table to make a nice flat bottom so it fits on top of the head really nicely. And we're just gonna put that, let's put it right behind his eyeball. Maybe I'll move that molecule back a bit. So I'll put it right in there, like that. Okay, let's do that one more time. Pinch that a little bit more. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so let's put some eyeballs on this guy. So let's grab some white and let's see. Let's break that in half. It's a pretty good amount for the eyeballs. So we're just going to roll this into a ball. And like we've done in the previous videos, we're going to flatten it on one side. So you can use the table to flatten it out. That just helps with putting the detail on for the eyeball. You can squish it out with your thumb a little bit, then it's a little bit round to go on the inside of our eye socket that we made earlier. So, I've got one eyeball. I'll do another one. Eyes. Okay, so let's put some detail on. So we'll use some green, and we're just going to make another flat disc, and it's just going to come on the inside of the outside of the white circle. So I'm going to squish it between my fingers and my thumbs, or I can roll it and squish it with my fingers. However you want to do it. You can also kind of squish it on the table. As long as you get a nice round shape, and we'll just place it right on the white of the eyeball. Squish it down as far out as you want it to be, and you can adjust your white a little bit more too. So we got one. Let's do the other. So now we need some pupils, so we'll take some black and do a little circle in the green circle. So I'm just going to squish it flat so it's nice and flat. I'll stick it in the middle. I'll do that one more time. Okay, let's add on the highlight. So we need one white molecule each for the highlight in the eyeball. There we go. And now we need his defining eyebrow. So we'll grab some more black and roll it out. And you can pinch it too if you want, or roll it on the table. Whatever you find is easiest. And then you just put it on top of the eyeball like that. And then we'll do one more. Maybe I'll move that highlight up higher, like that. Boop. Okay, do the other one. Oops. Oops. And put it on top. Okay, got our little eyeballs for Bugeleon. Now we're going to put them in our head one at a time. Set them there and squish it in. There we go. What a funny little guy. Okay, so next we're going to work on the body. So I'm going to use the rest of the orange block that I've got. Take that green guy out. And I'm just going to squish it, squish it, or roll it. I have one side that's flat, and kind of roll it into a giant carrot. You can also squish it, roll it between your hands. But you want a nice long tail. So you want it to be wider at one end and smaller at the other end. Sometimes the table helps to make a nice uniform roll. Okay. So there's the body. And we're going to roll out a green piece to go under, so like making a stomach. So we're going to put a little bit aside for decoration later. And the rest of it I'm going to squish and roll out, kind of make the same long carrot shape that I just made for the body, but I'm going to flatten it and make it nice and flat. Squish it down with your fingers like that, or squish it with your fingers like this, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And you want to make one end wider and one end kind of taper a little bit, so it's a little skinnier at one end. And you can kind of pinch it, flatten it out. And what we want to do is have it a little bit longer than the orange part, because we're going to roll it up over in a minute. Okay, so that looks pretty good. If you want to squish it out to the side a little bit more, then you can see it along the edge. Okay, so there's our green piece. So I'm going to lay the body on top. So I'm going to match up the end with the end. And I'm going to leave the extended part of the green at the end. So I'm just going to roll this on so it sticks really nicely. Okay. And then he's kind of got a curve in the back of the tail. So right now I'm going to use my hands to very slowly bend. And you're just kind of moving your hand and bending it very slowly, so that if the molecules separate, you can kind of squish them back together. But overall, you get a nice bend in the tail. And using slow motions, and you can kind of grab it with both of your hands. Just use it very gently and slowly. You get a nice curve in the tail. Okay, so now we're going to roll this green part up over the end, so it's nice and covered. So there we go. And then we're going to roll, so very gently. Pull the end, that's the best way to see it, like that. Boop. So it's a little tricky, but the great thing about molecules is that you can reposition if they kind of get out of the pattern that you want. So they're kind of coming up here, but I can just move them over or take from here if I've got too much, and I can add it back on the tail. So we've got a nice little rounded curly Q tail, which is pretty cool, and it shows on both sides. And you don't have to do this. This is just another nice detail that you can try for. Okay, so this is what our shape looks like overall. And there we go. So now I'm going to add on some details to the body, and we're going to use our blue color. So I'm going to put my body aside. I'm going to grab some blue, and I'm just going to pull off some big pieces, and I'm just going to make that same old snake, roll it between your hands, and you can make them as big or as small as you want. I think I'm going to do about 5 or 6. So you can decide how big or small you want them to be. That's a bit big for me, so I'm going to take that in half. And you can make it a little taller in the middle and thinner on the sides, so you can pinch it out. It's all up to you. Cool. So we're going to do that 5 more times. Okay, so I've got my shapes. So now I've made some that are a bit longer and a bit shorter, and I've got a small one here too. So you can adjust the size however you want, but we're going to add them on the back of the body now. So I'm going to take my bigger ones and I'm going to put it kind of near the front. So I'm just going to stick them on kind of right behind the back of his head, because his head will go here. That's my next biggest one. I'll put one there. And then take my next one. And you can space them out. You can even make a zigzag pattern. You can make the lines go kind of with the body. It really depends on what kind of decoration you like. So I've got 2 more. So I'll stick that one like that. And then the final we'll just add at the end like this. Cool. Look at that. It's coming together. Very detailed. Okay, so if you want to, you can add a couple of bits of green on top of your blue just to add a little bit more detail, and it gives it a little more definition, which is kind of cool. You can take it all the way along the bottom if you want, or you can do some in behind too. Let's do some like that. And some down here. Okay. So we've got the body, we've got the head, and now we need legs and wings. So what we're going to need to use is our black and our white, and then we'll use a little bit of the green and blue for a detailing on top. So what I want to do is break this up. So I want to have enough black to outline the wings, and I want to have enough to make 6 different legs. So there might be some trial and error here, but I'll divide this in half and then break this into 3, and we'll see how much material that is. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oop. And you can make them all the same size, the legs. We're just going to roll them out, or you can make 2 really big ones and 4 really small ones. It really depends on, you know, the detailing that you want to do for your Bugeleon. See, that's a pretty long leg. So we're going to roll it out. Make sure you've got nice flat bottoms on each end. And then we're going to bend it. You can bend it in the middle or more toward the top, like that. So that's going to be our leg. And we're going to put it on right about there. And or you can put them wherever you want. So we're going to do that 5 more times. Put on there. So now he's got 6 legs. And we can add some blue detail on just to give the legs a little bit more definition. So you can grab some of your blue. Okay, there we go. So now we've got wings to do. So we're going to use our white, and we're going to break it into 2 big pieces. So I'm going to have this as our big pieces, and this is our small. So I'm going to break that in 2. I'm going to break this in 2. And I'm going to flatten it out and make a nice big oval. So you can either flatten it on the table, flatten it in between your fingers, and you can make it as big as you want. If you squish it together, then you don't see any white spots showing through. So if you really squeeze it together, you don't get any white spots. But maybe your Bugeleon wings are translucent and you can see through. That would be pretty cool. It's up to you. Okay, there's my one. It's kind of an oval. It's kind of, you pinch one side, a little bit ovally. There we go. Let's do that again. Now I'm going to do the same for my smaller pieces. You can either roll it out, squish it in between your hands, or you can squish it on the table. 2 parts of my wing. So now I'm gonna, well, you can either squish it together now, or you can outline it. So I'm gonna outline it first and then put it together. So I'm gonna use my black, and I'm going to put some aside for the inside details. And let's see, let's break this whole piece in half. Make sure that I have enough. 1 molecule at a time. Okay, so now I'm going to attach these 2 together. And you just squish them just kind of this way and this way. And you can make whatever kind of wing shape you like. Okay. Now that I've got that together, I can detail as much as I'd like on the inside. So kind of make it look like it's got some dimension. So you can make little designs on the inside. So you can make one long snake and then kind of put it in the middle. Whoop. It's kind of hard to show you. Put it in the middle and have it extend all the way to the end. So I need a little bit more. You can just add it on like that. And then, whoop. Roll it a bit more black. And you can make, whoop, you can break off a little piece and then make a C, and you can put it from one end to the other. You can overlap. You can do that as many times as you'd like, however detailed you want it to be. And then in the bottom, I'm going to use some blue and green. So I'm going to make a row of single file blue molecules. like a really long caterpillar. Oop. And I'll just put it right under the top wing. There we go. Then you can add on any other little blue parts to the top to give it some more definition. And we'll do a couple of pieces of green. And then we'll do the same thing again for the other wing. Okay, phew, that took a bit of time, but I think it's worth it. Look at those wings. It's got lots of detail, and you can go as intricate or as simple as you'd like. So now we're going to put them on our Bugeleon. So we're going to put them right behind this blue detail. We're just going to gently squish it up against the body. They're very delicate wings, just like a butterfly. We're going to squish that on, move his leg back out. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're almost done. Okay, and the last part is adding the head. Here we go. Just going to push that on top. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And look. We've created Bugeleon. So cool. Oop. Put his wing back on.